What's up, guys? My name's Jesse. I am 23 years old, almost 24. I was born on April Fool's Day. It's the worst day to be born ever. 1996, and this is gonna be my testimony. I don't know. I guess I just kind of start back when I was a kid. I grew up in Ramona, California, kind of a small town, and grew up in a Christian home, and that was an interesting thing. My dad was a newer Christian, my mom was a newer Christians, and I went to church every Sunday because I had to, and so for a long time, I guess you could say like Sunday school was just like this thing you did on Sundays, and make sure you color in Jesus with white crayons and make him look extra holy. But that's really all Christianity was to me for a really long time. I went through high school, and then as I was getting into middle school, we went into the Great Recession in 2008, and my parents were really close to losing their home. And that was really rough on the family. My dad's a small business owner, and so he actually had to kind of work really, really, really hard and really long hours in order to save our family, to save our livelihood, and kind of not have to move out of the state and just try to figure it out. But so that was really rough, because getting into middle school, as maybe some of you guys know, that could be really a pivotal point in your life. I had just come from not a private, but a homeschool program where I was at school maybe a couple days a week, but mostly homeschooled. And then I went straight into middle school. I had the Justin Bieber haircut, and it didn't look super cool because I had acne and braces, and the hair flipped out at the end, so I just looked like a brunette sunflower, and that was not good. I was not a fan of that, and nobody else was either, so I didn't have a lot of friends. And I actually moved over schools with a couple of buddies, and luckily along the way, as I started hanging out with kind of the wrong crowd, who most of those people are probably dead, in jail, or have a kid now, and not the good kind of having a kid, like shouldn't have a kid right now. And so luckily I had some good friends that kind of kept me along with them, and I thank God every day for those people. But they were the popular people, the popular friends of mine, and so I started basically doing what it was required to be popular, whether that was, the snowball effect of crude jokes and hanging out and maybe drinking a little too early and then getting introduced to other things. I never did any drugs in high school, but I did drink a lot. So I got into high school, cut all my hair off, got rid of my braces, started playing water polo, and so now I was an athlete, and I didn't have acne, and I didn't have Justin Bieber hair, which all contributed very well to being in the popular crowd. And it's really not all what it's made out to be. That was my life for a really long time. It was just how to make people like you more. So do what everybody else does and take it one step further. That was basically my mantra, which meant if Jesse could drink an entire bottle of alcohol in one sitting, in one breath, he was going to do it. And that basically reinforced me being liked by people, because for some reason, basically killing yourself and all of your brain cells is how you get people to like you. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I didn't have any brain cells left, so that's exactly what happened. And went through high school, and I basically was living for myself. What made me feel good? Being liked by other people. So whatever things that I had to do to make other people like me is what I did. What things were self-fulfilling, whether that was chasing girls or drinking or partying or playing sports, and that basically graduated into college. I went to play water polo at a junior college for a couple of years, and I didn't really have a plan, but I wanted to play sports some more. And all I knew is that water polo metabolism could let me drink a lot and eat a lot and have a lot of energy. So I did that, and I basically went to school, but the only reason I went to school was just so I could play water polo and party. And basically, if you take it one step further than how my high school looked, it was eat, drink, barely sleep, get by in school, play water polo, and by this time I had a reputation. I was a life of the party. I was the captain of the water polo team. I was, I had lots of really popular friends. Everybody knew me. And I wasn't afraid to do what other people were even afraid to do. So that escalated into drugs too. So that I got to the point where, and I can't remember what happens next. Where did I get to then? Basically, I got to the point where I couldn't justify feeling good where I was. So it was always add one more thing, add one more thing, add one more thing. So then it was drugs, and then it was, okay, I need to make more money. And I made money probably illegally. Definitely illegally. And we won't go into the details of that. And but I worked really hard. I was always raised to work really hard, and so whatever I put my mind to, whether it was legal or not, I was gonna do it 110%. It's not always a great mantra, but it was good. I got out of college, didn't really know what I was doing. At this point, I basically was just living for myself, living on my own. I was working at In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger's all about. And I still going to school, kind of just trying to figure things out. I decided I was going to go get into EMT. I was going to become an EMT. I really wanted to help people because I couldn't help myself. Or I didn't think I could help myself, and I really wanted to help people. So I decided I'm gonna be an EMT, and basically I got through EMT school in like 4 weeks. I did like the 8-hour-a-day class for 4 weeks and became an EMT, and realized that wasn't something that I wanted to pursue where I was living, and so that just kind of was something I did with all of my heart, and then it just wasn't that fulfilling, and all the while party as hard as I can. And then I got introduced to a couple of guys who were doing like a side business, and they were like, we're gonna get licensing for this stuff. And I was like, cool, sounds like, and I could do that. And they're like, yeah, we'll be legal really soon. Okay, well, really soon sounds really soon. And I was working in a shack in the middle of nowhere until like 3 a.m. in the morning. That was super weird. And it wasn't super legal. And I was like, you know what, God, this is not working out. And all the while, couldn't figure out why God wasn't putting the right woman in my life. Chasing women wasn't working out. I always ended up with some dumpster fire of a girlfriend, and I had been through relationship after relationship, 2 serious ones, one that it started out like very quickly, physically, and I got 1 year to the day when I met this girl, I kicked her out of my house. So yes, we were living together. Bad idea. Don't do it. Super, super dumb. And so she had all these underlying issues and all these problems that I had to find out over the course of a year. I found out she was lying to the police behind my back. She was lying to me. That's kind of an important part. And yeah, so she basically faked a few police reports. I did not think that was good as far as liability, and so that ended. So all the way up to this point, I couldn't figure out why God wouldn't give me like a good girl, why he wouldn't put the right people in my life for a job or a career or financially. And I kind of realized this whole time it was all about me. I was the center of my own universe. Everything was rotating around Jesse's life and how well Jesse could please himself. Did I want to go out of my way to help other people? Absolutely, all the time. That was always at the bottom of my heart. But did I want to go out of my way to please my God? The unfortunate fact was definitely not. God was my cosmic vending machine, so you might say. And when things got bad, I cried out to God. When things were good, God, I've got this. I don't think I need you right now. Thanks, I'm going to stick you in my back pocket with my credit card. And that was just all bad. I finally hit a point where I was like, why is nothing working out for me? All right, God, you know what? I'm going to give you everything. And as good as that sounds, it's what I was saying here, but it wasn't what I was doing here. So I ended up giving God everything except for these things. These are mine. These are my things. Just the things that I need help with. And although I wanted help in my relationships, and although I wanted help in my finances, and although I wanted help in just life stuff, most of that stuff I was still kind of just going, God help me, but I'll be the driver. I don't know if you've ever like tried to sit in the driver's seat with somebody who's driving at the same time that they're driving you're trying to drive. You can imagine how poorly that would work out. You press the gas and I'll press the brake, and when we need to turn left, you turn left, but if we need to turn right, I'll turn right. Hey, it ain't gonna work. And I kind of just got slapped in the face a couple times, spiritually and probably physically. And after crying out to God and realizing that he'd been there all along, it wasn't really, wasn't his fault. He'd been there the whole time. I was trying to be the driver of my own life. And it just, my idea of how things should work couldn't compare. And so finally, my heart condition changed after one of my pastors actually said, if you truly believe in the God of the universe and that he is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving, and all-being, is it possible that your finite understanding of how things operate in the world doesn't even compare to a fraction of what he knows and what he has planned for your life? Why wouldn't you just give that up? That was rough. That was really rough. And I realized that my heart wasn't all the way there. So finally I kind of got to this point where I was like, okay, it's actually all yours. I have no control over this. I can't do this alone. I don't want to try to co-drive this magic school bus. I want you to drive, me to be a passenger, you to use me for your ultimate glory. And that is a hard prayer to pray. It's asking God to break me apart and remold me. And you can imagine what break me apart means is it's gonna hurt, and it hurt. He took things away. He took friends away. And it wasn't necessarily he just like, beamed them up or anything, but I had got to the heart condition where I was like, I have to love these people enough to just not let them be influences in my life. And that was God's way of taking them out. And he took situations away. He took all these things away. He basically put me in a mind state where it's like, you're going to be single for a long time. Still am. It's super awesome. And, but that was a remolding period which I'm still in to this day. Because reforming and turning you into something that you weren't before takes a process. It takes time, and I was just not prepared to really get fully broken down and remended into something. I wanted to be in control. I didn't want God's idea. And I really just took a hold of God's purpose for my life. I didn't really know what that was going to look like, and over the course of a few years it was getting involved in ministry and being a part of people's lives that I didn't think I'd be a part of, and not being afraid to share my testimony and share my story, and not being afraid to speak my mind about my faith when people would denounce Christians or denounce faith life or ask me why I lived a certain way. Because I was going, before I was just being one thing on Sunday, and the rest of the week it was just a mask. And I don't know, after that, I think looking back I could say that the Jesse that I am now is, I wouldn't even want to hang out with the guy that I was 2-3 years ago. It's probably one of the people in my friend groups that I would have cut out. So change happens. People can change. I hope that I can be a testament to that, and that God's continually using me and moving me forward in this growth period. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what God has in store for me, and whatever that looks like, wherever that takes me, whoever that puts in my life and takes out of my life, that I'm just not afraid. Not to be afraid to use for his ultimate purpose, his ultimate glory. And although that's kind of unknown and can be scary, I'm not necessarily what you would call going with the flow, but just one day at a time. For I can't be anxious about tomorrow, for today has enough anxiety of its own. And each and every day, just living a purposeful life, living a life on purpose, for purpose, by purpose. I'm Jesse, and this was my story.